And a good Monday afternoon to you. Lanny Ford, Juju Phillips, along with you here at the 6 o'clock edition of The Bottom Line. Live and in living color. Nice weather out today, Juju.
Man.
A little bit warm, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take this weather. It's going.
Yeah.
Is it going to be like this all week, right? In
I
the
think
70s?
So. No real rain in the forecast
No,
from what I understand.
Lows in the low 50s, upper 40s. I'll take that. You're right.
Day after day. Any damage from the storm up your way?
No, just heavy rain.
Yep, rain, some wind.
A little bit of wind.
I was looking for it to blow some things around, but it didn't. So we kind of dodged the bullet. Had to put the pool furniture in, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. We were spared. We were very fortunate.
Yep.
Compared
so were
to
we. Yeah.
some friends in Florida.
Yeah, I know some folks that they lost a bunch of stuff as far as damage that was done back there. In case you're not ready, we're already having folks fired.
College football, right?
Wisconsin off to an 0-5 start. Now, where did Paul
Christ
come from? He's been in the coaching world for a while.
Yeah, he was the head coach at Pitt prior to.
Okay.
Yeah. He took the job at Wisconsin. He's a Wisconsin native. Grew up in Madison.
Young man, 56 years old.
Played at Wisconsin. Was a graduate assistant there, I believe. Yeah, he was a quarterback.
He was a GA at West Virginia.
Okay, West Virginia. But he is a native of Madison, a native son. And for them to let him go, he was in the family, so to speak, with Barry Alvarez and whatnot. And I don't know what's going to happen. I guess after losing to Brent Bielema and what Illinois is doing, and Bielema is his first year, and he is a former Wisconsin coach, maybe that was just too much. They're just not playing very well. And I mean, they usually win 8 or 9 games. Wisconsin's usually 9 or sometimes 10 wins. But when you're 0-5, you got to do something.
They had gotten to where they were kind of decently competitive in the Big Ten.
They were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just a step.
And that's because they were so old school in how they played.
Yeah.
And he had been at Wisconsin. He came in 2002 and then went to Oregon State for 2 years, then back to Wisconsin from 05 to 11, then from there to Pittsburgh, 12 to 14, and then back to Wisconsin. Boys, you can't have a life. That's the only thing I know. Milton, good evening. Stephen, good evening. If you're going to coach on that level, rent, don't buy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was living in his hometown and coaching in his hometown, so it's not like he's going to have to get up and move. He's probably got.
And I'm
family.
sure they're going to pay him some money.
Yeah, maybe they got a TV check in and they have some extra money to pay him off.
I guess something happened. Let me look at pick'ems for the weekend. I did not fare well on some of mine. Let me just put it that way.
Your observations, you look that up. Your observations of Clemson and NC State Saturday. You have what were your observations?
State's got a hell of a defense. State played well. Clemson played better than they have played in the past. Still, they may win the ACC, but they're not doing any damage anywhere that I can see.
Do they get in right now?
No.
In the Final Four?
Not if there's 4 teams above them that are undefeated.
Well,
one of them won't be, but they'll take a one-loss Georgia or Alabama.
What about Ohio State, Michigan?
Well, one of them's going to have a loss too. Yeah.
So, will you take an undefeated Clemson team over Michigan?
They're not. The powers that be won't.
You don't think? You think if maybe Michigan stubs their toe somewhere else?
Yeah, but Michigan's playing really good.
Yeah, I think they settled on a quarterback.
Yeah, they're playing really good. I'm happy for Harbaugh. I really am.
You can't have 4 teams in 2 conferences. I guess you can, but
it's the 2 best conferences in the nation.
Yeah.
Can anybody else beat those 4 teams? I don't know who it would be.
Well,
A&M has floundered. Of course, they're in the SEC too. Nobody out of the Pac-12 is coming in. Nobody out of the Big 12 is coming in.
No, SC. They're 5th or 6th in the country.
It's not going to last. It's not going to last. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it's going to last. Let me look at the picks and see how I did. I suck. I'm down in 6th place now.
Am I on the list anymore? I've been picking the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. Let's see. You're fourth from last.
How many people are there?
20 couple.
20 couple.
Yeah.
I'm 15th, 16th.
No, you're in the 20s.
I'm in the 20s.
Mm-hmm. I forgot about last Thursday night's game. Of course, I would have taken Cincinnati, but that's neither here nor there. I'm sitting here at 77 points. The leader in the clubhouse is at 84. Brandon Eichert. Todd Herms is at 82. Adam Chase is at 81. Bob Duckworth at 81. Alan Haynes at 80, and I'm next at 77. Milton at 75 and Stephen Lowe at 75. Michael Powell, Richie Hauser are at 74. Four did not do well this week, not on his pro picks. College picks, I missed, well, everybody missed Oklahoma and Minnesota, period. Everybody picked Oklahoma and Minnesota.
Yeah.
So the whole bunch lost that. Four was the only one that picked Kentucky. I knew that Kentucky wasn't going to beat Ole Miss. I picked Ole Miss in that one.
By Kansas.
Kansas, I picked Kansas. I picked K-State. I missed Oklahoma, Minnesota, and I missed Baylor and A&M. A&M must be in a tailspin.
Yeah, they are.
Now, that Baylor and Oklahoma State I knew was going to be a good one. There were only 3 people picked Oklahoma State out of the batch. Everybody, you was one of them.
I was one of them.
You and Cabbage and Michael Powell. And Milton. They picked Oklahoma State. And then the only other one, that was all I lost in college. I lost 4 games in college. And, you know, it wasn't I was out on a limb on something. And then in the pros, I lost Cleveland. Cleveland lost to Atlanta. Jeez. I took the Steelers. They couldn't beat the Jets, Juju.
It's terrible. And they made the change of quarterback.
And I took Detroit. I thought they'd beat Seattle, and they didn't. Everybody took Detroit except Alan Haynes. He took Seattle. He was the only one that got that game right.
I don't think anybody would have thought that both teams would score in the 40s.
And me and 4 took the Deadskins. I thought the Deadskins would beat Cooper Rush, but I was wrong. No. Ron Rivera's probably on his last year. Be my guess. It's not happening.
Maybe.
I took Denver. Denver lost to Las Vegas, to the Raiders. I took Green Bay. Didn't want to, but I did. And took Kansas City.
Well, you had to take Green Bay. I mean, when you look at what New England's offense is,
mm-hmm.
they're playing with the rookie quarterback now.
If Mac Jones had not been out, I probably would have taken the Patriots. That's another team that's not right. Green Bay's not quite right. There's something wrong there. I don't know what it is. And I've got the Rams tonight against the 49ers.
Even though it's in San Francisco?
Yeah. Yeah.
I take the home team. And the 49ers come east next week to play the Panthers.
Yeah, Alabama should have lost, Milton. You're right. Milton said his picks were awful. Richie, good evening. Richie said I lost over half my picks in the NFL. And you're right, Milton. Ron needs to get out of that circus in Washington. And somebody else will pick him up, I think.
Yeah.
I didn't even go with my heart on Washington. Javonte Williams suffered season-ending knee injury yesterday toward his ACL and his LCL. It's hard to – I mean, I went with Washington because I just think Dallas is in a mess, but they're 4-1, right?
Yeah, Cooper
Rush. They lost the first one and have won every game since.
Yeah, Cooper Rush is undefeated as a quarterback, starting quarterback.
Jerry says going to have a quarterback controversy down in Dallas.
I think they're going to bring him back early, right? Are they bringing him back?
If you're on the team and you're winning, do you want to bring him back?
Well, you're paying him how much? $35 million?
No, I didn't say that. I didn't ask you that.
Well, that's not really.
But are you going to get the locker room?
Yeah, I think you do.
What if you go on a skid?
Well, you stick with the guy that you're paying.
Let's see here. Lindsay said, but what's his face had to go to the bathroom. I missed that story. Who had to go to the bathroom? Chad says time's running out for Satterfield. I think you're right, Chad. I think Scott's going to probably be out if he makes it to the end of the season.
Who gets the Georgia Tech job then? Does the head coach at Army, do they go back to the wishbone? He's been an assistant at Georgia Tech
How about
before.
the guy that won this week? They beat Pitt, didn't he? Wasn't it who they beat?
Yeah, they did. That was an upset too. At Pitt. Do you hire the offensive coordinator at Georgia?
At Georgia.
At Georgia to go to Georgia Tech? Or do you go out and get a name, somebody that's been a head coach before?
Who's a name that's going to come to Georgia Tech? DK Metcalf was carted off the field at Seattle.
Yeah, and they still scored 48 points. I'm sure there'll be a pro coach that'd be available.
Oh, he was carted off the field so he could go to the bathroom.
Yes,
I missed that
that's
story.
it. Yeah.
Okay, I missed that story. Just to catch you up, Mike Jacobs, head coach Lenore Ryan's going to give us a call here in just a few minutes. And also Steve Peeler. I guess he's the head groundskeeper.
Yeah, for the Atlanta Braves.
Celebrating. He's going to call us. Richie said college coaches are being chopped quickly this year. Paul, Chris, Carl, Darrell. That was Colorado, right?
Correct.
The Buffaloes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kansas coach is next hire somewhere, Chad said.
Is this his first year, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I think so. Oh, the reason they're winning is that they got to transfer quarterback. Right? The Martinez kid?
And here's the deal with Alabama and Mizzou. As much as I hate Alabama, I couldn't pull for Missouri. Not in drink of water. Wasn't going to happen.
He had him playing pretty hard, though.
Mm-hmm.
He sure did. He sure did.
Sports Talk guys, you're live. Good evening, Coach.
Good evening. How are you guys?
Doing great. We were just sitting here kicking around all the things that's happening, and it looks like in the D World one that the college wheel of coaching has already started. They don't mess around up there. But congratulations on your big win and the season that you've got underway. Looks like you've settled in on a quarterback.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I appreciate the thanks. It all goes to our kids. Our kids have worked really hard and diligently all season. Obviously, week 2 we played an extremely tough Fair State team, but I think you've seen incremental improvement each and every week, and certain phases are playing really well, and really proud of Sean White. Settling in now that he's got 5 starts, including his one in the COVID spring under his belt, and you're seeing his growth and development kind of right before our eyes.
Coach, your team has won 3 straight since that loss to Ferris State. And it seems like in watching that the team has really done a great job of playing complementary football, special teams, defense, offense, all contributing.
Absolutely. We struggled at times last year on specials, and some of it was a depth situation for us with injuries and whatnot. And we've been able to correct some of those things, and I feel like our special teams have done a tremendous job this year. Just last week you saw us block a punt and return one for a touchdown, which are big, juice plays for our team. And then our defense has just been rock solid all season, and really with a lot of new faces in there. You lose guys like Amari Houston, who's the conference player of the year, and Dan Luba, who's a 3.5 year starter, Eric Jackson, who's a multi-time heavy hitter award winner for the year, and you're seeing a lot of young guys step up and play at a high level, which has been awesome. So really proud of where we're at right now.
Was playing a team like Ferris State early in the season and looking back, was that a great growth opportunity to get for the guys to measure themselves against one of the best teams in the country?
I think so. I believe in that. I believe if you have high aspirations as a program, then you need to surround yourself with those people, and you need to play tough games, because when you get to the playoffs, that's what it is. It's out of conference teams, it's teams from different regions, and you have a short turnaround to prepare for them, and so I don't think that there's any bad that comes out of it. We're not into moral victories and things of that nature, but there's some really good things that we did in that game that we learned from, as well as some of the things that we didn't do as well. But I think it's a very good litmus test for our program with where we're at.
Coach, I know you don't like to look ahead, and before we ask you about this coming game, this week's game against Limestone, have you talked with the team about how good a team this can become this year in terms of reaching the goals and things you talk about?
I'll be honest with you, we haven't. We 1-0 is kind of one of our mantras. It's all over our locker room, and working on changing our best each day, so we have incremental improvement throughout the week, so we have a chance to earn a victory on Saturday. And I'm not trying to just give you coach talk on that. That's really how we function. I think our kids, whether you talk about it or not, I think the kids sense that it could be something special if we play to our ability each week.
Two characteristics I've noticed about your teams, especially this year, and coming out of that game from Ferris State, that this team is projecting confidence and a toughness that I'm sure that's something that you like to talk about.
Absolutely. I think that, grit and resolve are really two characteristics of hard-nosed teams. When you're able to have resolve in tough times, and there's tough times in each and every game, there's tough times in each day, but you have the resolve and the grit to press through, and you fall back when things are helter-skelter. You always fall back on the basics and your training, and I think our guys are starting to really understand that, and I'm just proud of where they're at right now. We got a long way to go. We're nowhere near the team that we can be, but we're starting to develop some of the thick skin that I think it takes to be a championship caliber program.
We're talking with Lower Ryan head coach Mike Jacobs, and Coach, you said something early that I want to go back to. You said that one of the things that you see week to week is the incremental improvements that are made with the kids. It's even better when it's when you've got wins on top of that, but that is the key to getting better, is to see those small improvements every week. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. It's like a snowball effect, right? Like because it's twofold. Like momentum can go one of two ways, and when you get positive momentum going, and kids are starting to see the things that they work on in practice carry over and translate to success once they're in the game, in whatever phase of the game that they're in, that they start to develop a confidence, and I think that's something that's really special to watch. And when you're around sports, it's something, it's one of the few places you can really see and feel that.
Coach, I don't think there were probably too many local college football fans that would have thought that Lenoir Rhyne and Limestone would be the only two undefeated teams in the South Atlantic Conference still remaining. But you play them coming up between the bricks on Saturday. Do you talk to your kids? This is a team and a program that was winless a year ago. They changed coaches. They went back to a guy that they used to coach with them, was a previous head coach a few years ago, and now he's back after being in the NFL for the last 3 or 4 years. Do you talk to your kids about, hey, this is not the same team, not the same program?
You have to address it, right? Mm-hmm. And our kids, we don't have a bunch of them left, but the kids that were here from the transition from the Keller to the Chronic area, when you saw a team go from 3-8 to 10-1 with virtually the same guys. Now, the advent of the transfer portal has made it much easier to flip a roster, but you still have to get those guys to buy in and play hard. And you've seen Coach Fury do that. Coach Fury's a guy that I've known for quite some time and have a lot of respect for. He's an Ohio guy. He was a walk-on at Ohio State before he finished his career at Northern Iowa. His wife used to work in the Ohio State recruiting department, and so they're people that I'm familiar with. The defensive coordinator down there, Joe Stab, was my first defensive coordinator at Notre Dame College in 2016. So there's some familiarity with those guys, and I know the caliber of coaches they are. And they got the team buying in, they believe, and they're playing really hard right now, and it's translating to wins for them.
Coach, when you look at it and all that you've been through since you started Lenore Ryan, it was rocky because of the pandemic, the changes in seasons and doing things out of kilter. But now things have kind of laid in and they're kind of back to normal, or as normal as football gets. But you talked about Ferris State. I've seen a lot of successful coaches. They want to be challenged early, so that gives them ways that they can grow and improve because they're playing up against the best. Some teams like to warm up, I call it warm up, with patsies coming in so that their teams can get adjusted and feel good. But the teams that really are there when the dust settles at the end are the teams that want the top competition week in and week out.
Absolutely, and I think our kids understand that. I think that it takes a strong team, and knowing a team's going to have resolved the schedule. The number one team in the country that hasn't lost a regular season game in 4 years. Some call it stupid.
No.
Whatever. It's still at the end of the day, it brings national attention to your program, right? It gives you a very clear path of the things that you need to work on to be at the level that you want to be at or aspire to be at, and ultimately, it puts you through a trial by fire that I think is very important. And you look at it, Virginia State's a team that's 4-1 right now.
I saw that
I think's got a chance of winning that conference, and they're another really good team that we've played here early on. Carson Newman's a team that just beat Newberry, a team. Carson Newman, we had held to like 104 yards of rushing. I think they had almost 300 yards on Newberry. So, it's a wild year. It's a wild year in Division II. It's a wild year in the SAC, and I think that's why it's so even more important to just focus on the daily growth than try to get caught up in too much of the big picture, because just do the little stuff right consistently, and you're gonna find yourself in position to do something special.
That's a lot of times folks will complain, or they'll say when like playoffs and brackets come out, well, why did we get this matchup and why did we get that matchup? And I've always looked at it, here's the deal, you got to beat them all to win it all. It's just a matter of when you play them. So, you got to take it one game at a time, and you just got to go out there and do what you've got to do to get it accomplished.
That's right, and being in.
Yeah.
Right? All you need is a ticket.
Yeah,
right?
that's
you need
right.
entrance.
Yeah.
Is all that it matters. I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like bye weeks, all that stuff. But again, that's so far down the road from us. We got to prove that we can do it weekly.
Right. Coach Mike Jacobs, head coach Lenore Ryan, thank you for the time. As always, good luck this week, and go Bears.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys having me on, and we need everybody to be at Moretz this weekend and loud. We need a great environment for a big SAC contest.
Yep.
So I appreciate y'all having me on.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate your time.
We'll see you guys.
Thank you. Coach Mike Jacobs, a lot of times when you're talking about that incremental growth, that's usually accompanied because you didn't win. But he's getting the incremental growth. When you're getting the growth and the wins, you're doing something pretty good.
And a young football team that's less than 10 seniors on the whole roster. So,
that makes a big difference.
It's more his team now.
Yes.
Than it was last year, even the year before.
Well, and the way it all happened, the way he came in and season shuffle and all that kind of stuff. So that's awesome. Let me take a time out, and we'll come back and we'll chat a little bit about some college football that went on Saturday. It was a game or two, if I'm not mistaken.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Yeah, welcome back. All right, let's get to some other stuff. Appreciate Coach Jacobs calling in.
Good stuff there.
Yes, sir. We definitely appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I think.
Wait, I got to ask you first. You can't give us your opinion without us asking.
Okay, so ask me.
Go ahead, my friend.
My Tigers will drop again. They're in 5 right now in the AP. And the reason is they're going to play Boston College, who is terrible. Terrible.
You think they'll drop?
Yeah, because if Southern Cal or Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, I mean, some of those teams are going to start jumping up.
Can Clemson's defense slow down Mississippi? Can they slow down Oklahoma State's offense? Can they slow down Southern Cal's offense?
I think so.
And do those teams play good enough defense to slow down Clemson's offense?
No, but that and I guess some of you will say because I'm a homer. Tyrone, good evening, Tyrone. You know, there's a stigma with Clemson. There's a lot of the talking heads, a lot of the spouters of all their knowledge that don't feel like they're a national competitor because the ACC is so weak. And
Is the ACC weak this year, though?
well,
You had 2 teams in the top 10.
one of them just got beat.
Yeah, there are 14. So
Carolina still, but Mac is back. But they're still trying to get in the rankings.
Wake's 15, I believe, right? They got 4 teams like in the top 15. How much better do you want?
I'm not buying it.
They're not the best conference.
Yeah. Can Wake beat Army?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can State beat Florida State?
I think so.
Okay. That's their next opponents. Like I say, Clemson goes to Boston College. That's a 7:30 game on ABC. Why? I don't know unless it's just the Boston market.
Maybe unless there's
and you don't even get chicken. It's Boston market. You don't get chicken.
Yeah, that's
I made it funny.
There are no other big games, I guess, to put in that window.
I don't know. Let me roll back here.
Yeah, let's get some comments, some good questions there.
Let's see. Yes, State rolled in there with some attitude, and Clemson punched him in the mouth in the second half. Chad Mullis says that Martinez is in his 3rd year at K-State.
K-State.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Chad said KJ Henry is a man-child. Yep, he is. They
couldn't block him. They could not block him.
He can play.
Yeah.
Yep, he can play. They said, you were both listening so intently I thought my screen had frozen. Then she saw me move my mouse. Richie said KJ is also from Winston. He grew up a Wake Forest fan, went to all their games. That's because his dad was coaching at Wake Forest then.
Yes, for Jim Grobe.
Mm-hmm. And then the last touchdown State got was garbage. The roughing the passer call was weak, and I'm still not sure where they got the pass interference call on that drive. Speaking of transfer portal, SMU has multiple players that are going to sit out the rest of the year and transfer. See, that's wrong. They should be kicked out of school because they're student athletes.
Maybe they are. Why you kick them out of school?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they just keep going to class and don't play football? Take away their scholarship.
Okay, take away their scholarship,
Yeah.
make them pay. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
Don't let them have it for free.
that's fair.
Bob said survive and advance. That is correct.
Someone asked a question about Coach Jacobs' aspirations, coaching. His college coach at Ohio State is the president at Youngstown State,
Okay.
Jim Tressel. One of Coach Jacobs' defensive coordinator last year took a job as defensive coordinator at Youngstown State this year. Just a guess, just putting 2 and 2 together, if that job should ever come open, that's in the FCS level, that would maybe make sense. He's an Ohio guy, just like you heard him talk about. That might be something that he would like to jump at. But to be honest with you, as much I think he's taken to the South, and being down here with the weather and everything else, I don't know if he wants to go back up north. But again, if the money comes calling and it's
Bob
a good offer.
said, I thought he was in the running for the Valdosta job.
Yeah, he was.
Of course, there was a lot of people in the running for the Valdosta job.
Yeah, and apparently they didn't make a good choice because they gave up 70 points the other night. Wow. They gave up 70 points. They were down 42-17 at halftime and ended up losing 70-30.
Richie, let me answer that question. Of course, Lindsay said to be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo! That's what Rick says.
Now, what game or what I've been watching lately, something happens and they start playing Ric Flair. Oh, it must be LR games. They get a first down or something, and they play Ric Flair's sound over the PA.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Woo!
All right. That's new.
Yeah.
Richie said Clemson's defense played really well without 2 of their best players. I was very surprised at how well the secondary played. It's because there was much more pressure up front. The secondary didn't have to do as much because there wasn't time.
And they couldn't block. They could not block KJ Henry.
No. That was where that came from.
And that's what you're seeing in the NFL, and we talked about it last week, is teams are slowing down these passing attacks because because defensive linemen are so much better athletes now than offensive linemen that they don't have to add blitzers. They'll rush 4 and put everybody else in the background.
Well, where they messed up with offensive linemen, in my opinion, is they've got to get guys that are lighter on their feet and not these 350-pound road graders because nobody's doing that anymore. It's a passing game.
Yeah.
And you got these big tackles that can't stay with that 6'5", 260-pound defensive end that runs a 4.4.
No.
Just can't do it. And they're going to have to adjust the makeup of what they're looking for on the offensive line.
They're colleges and now pros. They're putting the better athletes over on defense, at least on the offense, on the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to convince some of those guys that are playing defensive line to go play offense. Because I think there's a major dearth. Is that a proper word?
You have to ask my daughter. She's the English major.
Okay. There is a lack of really good offensive line play going all the way down to high school, I think, in our country. When you look at high school football, even to college and into the pros, there's just mainly I think is because of all these 7-on-7s, of all the game has evolved into so much of a passing attack. You don't have these guys, these offensive linemen that come out and they just fire off the football, knock people off the ball.
When I was still coaching over 20 years ago, okay, I grew up in the old way of the flipper, shoulder, okay? That's the way we were taught to block because that's the way it was back in the day. When I coached offensive linemen, I learned from somebody's going to have to help me here. Was it Steve Hodges that took over after Coach Waters gave up Western?
I think so.
Okay.
I remember that name.
Coach Hodges, we used to go to football camp when I was at West Lincoln. And Coach Hodges was the head coach up there then. And I learned some techniques up there. Even back then, this would have been in the early 90s, offensive line play had become a hands game. So when I taught offensive linemen, old school coaches didn't want their offensive linemen using their hands. It's all about pads, but you can't. You got to maintain separation.
Well, it's hand placement now more than just hands and pushing. It's how do you, like for a center or guard, as soon as you rise up, it's where your hands are placed at so you can either grab or hold or push or shove.
Fat boys don't even need pads. Because it's all hands and feet. I mean, that's the key, in my opinion, and I don't coach anymore, so, Lindsay said you're correct. Dearth is correct.
Okay.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even want to. Steve Hodgins. Thank you, Bob. That's who I thought it was. And just in case you didn't know, the Braves can win their 5th straight division title with a win tonight.
And we're going to be talking with Steve coming up in a few minutes.
Steve Peeler just in a few minutes. Milton said Mahomes put on a clinic last night, and he did. And let me tell you something about – I heard somebody say today, and this is what separates quarterbacks, in my opinion, and why – I respect what Aaron Rodgers accomplishes, but I don't care for Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes, his greatest joy comes in making a teammate better. Not what he accomplishes, but making the guys around him better, his receivers, his backs. That's not Aaron. You drop a ball on Aaron, I'm going to put you in the corner, baby. You're not coming out.
I don't know if it's that bad.
He did last night. He did yesterday. And I'm trying to think of the kid that he did. He dropped a pass or fumbled, and Aaron wouldn't throw back to him to the second half. It's early in the ball game. And people that have played with Aaron will tell you that. He has no confidence, wants no part of his rookies. He wants to know it's somebody.
Well, he did when the game was on the line yesterday. He did go to the Cobb guy, the veteran player that they brought back this year, played at Kentucky, number 18.
When
the game was on the line yesterday, he performed.
That's pretty poor that it took what it took to beat a third-string quarterback in New England with no weapons.
Well, I don't know how many weapons that Green Bay has. They have a really good running attack, and then
two of the best running backs, what I understand, in the league.
Yeah, well, Cleveland's got the 2 best, but that's maybe the top 2 or 3. But at least when you look at what New England was trying to stop, he gave a lot of credit to Bill Belichick's defense in slowing them down.
He's a great guy.
But when go back, you mentioned about Mahomes, and that's a great point, and it's true. Did you see the other side, though, or was my eyes deceiving me? Tom Brady got hit pretty hard a couple of times last night, and he was on the sidelines grimacing and holding his shoulder and different things like that. And then he came in after that one series. He got knocked around, and his balls are going straight in the dirt. Is this
This is it for Tommy.
He didn't look very good.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's having to take a whole lot more abuse.
Yeah, he doesn't have an
body's
offensive line.
just not ready for
his
it.
right tackle's the only guy that he can count on. Everybody else, they're rushing, and he's gotten lucky a couple of times. He hasn't really gotten his head taken off.
And if he didn't release the ball as quick as he does anyway, he would really be in trouble.
Yeah.
Let me take a break. Steve Peeler up next.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call 4 Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. See what else has come in. Yeah, Rogers needs to take a huff from the Magic Hookah. What's up with his haircut?
I don't know. That's bizarre.
He's bizarre. Richie said, I also not seeing a lot of defensive lines do stunts, loops, twists, swim smooth, and their uppercut moves to get an advantage. I see them just trying to push the offensive lineman into the backfield and play like it was patty cake. Yeah, it's you ever see the movie The Replacements?
Yeah.
You know, they got the one tackle that was a sumo wrestler, and they got him because he was good at pushing people around.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. I would not want to be an offensive tackle trying to take on some of these guys that are lining up 3 yards out.
Yeah, I mean, T.J. Watt or J.J. Watt or Aaron Donald, any of those guys.
Hey, Steve, how are we, sir?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing great. Appreciate you taking a little time with us here tonight. How about those Braves? Are you the good luck charm?
I think so, yeah. They straightened it out once I got here.
Yeah, hey, Steve, when did you start? Was that in June?
No, I actually started in March.
Okay.
March 25th when I came down and, opened the season with them this year after they, won the World Series last year. So, been here for about 6 months now.
So the Braves, since I think I saw this stat, since June 1st are 50 games over 500. They erased the Mets' 10 or 10.5 game lead. Tell us a little bit what the atmosphere was like in the stadium this weekend.
Oh, it was pretty pumped up. We knew we had to sweep these guys, New York Mets, to have a chance to win the division. And, I think the guys took it one game at a time, which I know they had to do. But they really played loose, and it was friendly competition. You saw the guys on the field going back and forth with one another and then pregame and everything. So, but it was from a fan's point of view, it was very exciting and nail-biting. Everybody was commenting on how excited they were, but a lot of anxiety too. So it was a fun time.
You've been with some major league teams, and I just recall, and I think we made the phone call. You have a 724 area code. That's Pittsburgh, isn't it?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. I kept my number that we had up there in Pittsburgh with the Pirates, and so everybody knows me by that number.
Okay. In the teams that you followed and worked for, which one has maybe the best atmosphere?
I'd have to go with the St. Louis Cardinals and
Okay.
the Atlanta Braves on that one. St. Louis is a good baseball town, and they just are the fans, are really tied into the team, and the whole city really gets into it, and the Braves themselves, I would compare them to the St. Louis Cardinals. I think the attendance-wise, Cardinals are in the top three, and this year has been good for them with Albert Pujols, hitting his 700 home run and breaking 700. It's been a good year for them, and I was with them when Albert Pujols was there actually for the first round, and he was a good guy to be around. But fans in St. Louis are great. They just, they support their team 100%, and it's just a great baseball town.
I think everything's going to get underway, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't playoff action get underway Friday?
Yeah, it does. Tonight's a big night for us and the Mets, actually. So it'll depend on what we do, in this homestand or the away games we got with the Marlins, and then the Mets are, playing the Nationals. So if we win one, we clinch. If the Mets lose one, we clinch. So it's, I think the pressure would be on the Mets themselves instead of us, because going into play the Marlins, we feel pretty comfortable with that. And the pitchers that they've got lined up, they won, I think, the starting slot for maybe tomorrow or the next day is yet to be determined. So I imagine what they're trying to do is just they're saving, somebody in case they need them, bring back one of the starters that do this homestand. So I would. It's going to be an exciting time either way.
What, as you look at this past weekend, and what the Braves did was remarkable. They beat probably the two best pitchers in Major League Baseball. That they went back to back and hit 5 home runs off of those guys. Were the Mets, from where you were at and watching the game, Were the Mets deflated after this weekend?
I think they were. You could see the frustration after last night. You kind of see it on their faces. Buck Showalter's not a very, emotional guy, but you can kind of catch a glimpse. He got a shot on TV where you could kind of tell that he was a little disappointed. But he did say, that the Braves are a great team. They came back, and it would be a true test for them. And I think you're right. We beat two of the best pitchers in baseball, and they battled hard, but we hit well and hit the long ball. And the Mets, I think in the bracket, if they do go to the wild card, I think they stand the best chance to beat the Dodgers. If they get past the first round. So maybe if we are lucky enough to win the division and play either the Cardinals or the Phillies, we might see the Mets again. Who knows?
I think the way it looks right now for the Mets and the Braves to play again, it would have to be in the championship series, right? I think that's the way it would work.
Correct.
Yeah.
We'd meet them in the National League Championship, and like I say, I think if the pitching staff that they have, if they get hot, and it's not that they were that cold, we just hit well, and I do believe they stand the best chance to beat the Dodgers.
And they got to get through the Padres first. I think that's the way it could work out. They start with the Padres, and then they have to beat the Dodgers, and then have to play the Braves. That's a tough gauntlet for the Mets to go through, to even have to play the Braves again. That's why, I guess, Steve, that's why these games this past weekend, you play 150-some games, and it all comes down to three important division games, and you beat the team that had a big lead over you, and you sweep them at home. And that's got to give Atlanta all kind of confidence.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it does. And back in the beginning of the year when we weren't playing well at all, we had it was kind of a combination. Either we'd get great offense and no pitching, or we'd have great pitching and no offense. And I think they put it together a little later in the month in April and started to win some games. But we went on that streak out on the West Coast and won. I think it was 14 or 15 in a row. That made a big difference. And we got within. We were 10 games out at that time, and then we got within one or two games at that point. But never really pulled ahead of the Mets until last night. We went ahead and or the night before, and so hopefully there's no turning back, and we'll see what we do in the playoffs.
In regards to what you do with the groundskeepers and stuff like that, what changes when the playoffs come around? Can you doctor the field at all in favor of the Braves, or water down the infield more than usual, or does the National League come around and they have a checklist of everything that needs to be done for the field before they start playing?
You used to be able to get by with a lot. They really tightened down on that, and I was taught by one of the best in the business, Roger Bosford with the Chicago White Sox, and he had 17 tricks of the trade, and probably 16 of them were illegal. But so anymore, it's very hard to do anything like that. They check the height of the mound, and we're going through that right now, checking the height in Business bullpen and the game field and our bullpen. And, it has to be 10 inches, and anything above that or below it, you have to correct it. And then they'll come measure the bases, and all the measurements get taken into consideration. If you have something off, you have to correct it. So it used to be that, you could slant the foul lines a little bit, and I used to do that when I was in St. Louis, and it helped out a couple of times, but they watch that stuff very closely now, so they want a level playing field. And with the amount of money the players make today and the teams, the amount of money they make, they want to keep it fair. Not to say that some people in the league don't still push the issue, but here we're pretty square.
Steve, give me your exact title with the Braves.
I'm the senior field manager.
Okay, because we have one of our listeners, and I wasn't sure. I kind of knew what you did, but he was asking what your job was. So I said that's the best way to do it, just to do that. And he also said that the Dodgers have the best record in baseball, but since the All-Star break, the Braves seem to have been the best team in baseball.
Yeah, that's correct. Our pitching's really came around, and Strider right now he's injured. He had an oblique strain, and thought he'd be back by now, but I think he's going to be okay for the playoffs. And like I said in the early beginning, that we'd have good offense and bad pitching, and then good pitching and bad offense, and they put it together. But we have really played well, since the All-Star break, and that's what's made the difference in us catching the Mets. And we played really well at home. So we like to hit the long ball at home, and that's Matt Olson has been he's been cold over the past couple weeks, 3 weeks, but I think he's got it back together now because he's lighting the world on fire with a long ball. I think he hit 2 or 3 this series, and then the series before that he hit 2 or 3. So he's back on track, and sometimes you get hot at the right time, and that helps everybody. So,
as a fan of the Braves, does Dansby Swanson come back next year, or is he going to test free agency?
I think that you have to sign him, or you have to make a good effort to sign him, because, in my opinion, he's the most valuable player on the Braves because he comes through in the clutch. Great defensively, awesome offensively, and he's a team leader, and he gets pumped up when they play. So I think you have to make an effort to really sign him. And then Vaughn Grissom, the rookie this year, and he's there's talk about making him an outfielder, which I think that would be good. So if you get him in the lineup, and then Swanson in the lineup, and you got Harris and all these other guys that have signed, you got a pretty solid team coming back next year. So. I know everybody wants to test free agency, but I think Dansby is from this area, Atlanta, and I think not saying he'd take a hometown discount because their agents are in charge of all that, but I think that he would probably consider it because the chemistry's there, and he's really, really good for the team.
That's awesome. Steve, best of luck. Thanks for taking time out to call us, and look forward to the Braves kicking it off this weekend.
All right, yeah, give me a call anytime.
We'll
I'll keep you guys posted.
Thanks,
Steve. We
appreciate
it. Steve
All
Peeler.
right, thank you.
And,
got his start. You believe he got his start as the head groundskeeper for the Crawdads in 1993.
And he taught some at CVCC.
He did. A couple of times, I believe.
And,
he's from Morganton, grew up in Morganton, but he was the first ever groundskeeper for the Hickory Crawdads in 1993.
Wow. That's amazing.
And he's been
Milton says it all right here. Braves are good when it really counts. Used to not be the case, and it used to be the Braves had pitching, one of the best bullpens anywhere.
Starting pitching,
had
too.
no offense. Had no offense.
They got offense now. They hit a bunch of homers.
And then when they got offense, the pitching wasn't as good.
Yeah.
But it seems like they've kind of put it together, and I'm excited.
You
Braves, it's scoreless game right now. That game will be on WLON in about an hour. We do Panther Talk, and then Mac Brown. Because Mac's back.
If the Braves win the division, they will play next Tuesday.
Really?
Yes.
So the wild card will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And now if they're a wild card team, then they'll play Friday.
They shouldn't be.
If they shouldn't. If they win the division, they'll play Tuesday, likely against the Cardinals or the Phillies, and it'll be a best of 5.
The Mets, they do not go until 7:10. Currently, the Marlins are on top of the Braves, 1-0, 1 out, and runners on the corners in Miami.
Okay.
That's where that game is right now. Anything else?
Great show. It flew by again as always.
Great booker.
Oh, y'all, thank
Great
you.
booker.
Yeah, executive producer.
Yeah,
that's me.
that's him
and
right
he didn't
there.
say anything about my Appalachian shirt. Can you believe
everybody look at him. You won't see it again.
A friend sent this to me via Lenore Ryan. He
Yeah.
said, thanks for the publicity because we talked about game day so much.
And one final thing, how about them Durham Bulls? AAA champions.
Yeah. And
AAA
you know the Major League affiliate is for Durham? The Tampa Bay Rays.
I did not know
Maybe
that.
there's a reason why Tampa Bay has made the playoffs now for 4 consecutive years. In the AL East, no less, with the Yankees and Red Sox and Toronto. They're in the playoffs again. And they've got one of the smallest budgets in all of baseball.
I looked. Surely the Braves can beat the Marlins. I don't think the Marlins have won but 55 games. I believe that's right.
Yeah.
That sound about right.
And their manager is on his way out, and he's announced that he will not be back next year. So maybe they're going to try to win
one for the Gipper.
Maybe. Don Mattingly.
Really? I didn't know that's where he was at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure enough.
All right, we're out of here. Have a great day. Fort Rembrandt will be back in the morning, as far as I know. We'll just wait and see what happens. That's kind of the way that works. Thanks for stopping by. See you.